Welcome to BaseballGuys.com. I'm Ray Flowers. Gonna go around the horn today and just touch on some news in the world of baseball, starting with the situation with the Milwaukee Brewers. Jim Edmonds got another start today. He's looked good so far. That has obviously relegated Corey Hart to the bench. Now you can go to rototimes.com or fanball.com and read my By the Numbers piece where I break down the fact that Edmonds is a much better hitter in his career against right-handed pitching than Corey Hart. But at this point of their respective careers, it's obvious Edmonds has got no upside. He's an injury risk. He didn't play at all last year. So what are the Brewers doing by sitting Corey Hart? He had a terrible spring, there's no doubt about that. He was very disappointing last year. But if the Brewers aren't going to play him, if they don't plan on using him regularly, which I can't still see them doing, they're going to have to trade him. Problem is, if you don't play the guy, it's kind of hard for a team to get a look at what's going on there and see if they really want to give something to acquire Corey Hart. Very tough situation in the fantasy world. I would continue to hold on to Hart if you can. I still think he has the ability to have a big season. He's obviously going to be highly motivated once he gets in the lineup to prove everyone wrong. And it's not like Jim Edmonds, as 4,900 years old, however old he is a bastion of health at this point. Hold on to Corey Hart and hope the situation changes there in Milwaukee. Now, another situation that's kind of up and down from fantasy perspective at this point is the outfield of the Colorado Rockies. You can also read an article there, my Around the Horn piece at fanball.com, discussing the situation. And basically, you've got Brad Hopp, who's going to be in the lineup most days, even though he struggles against lefties because he's a big power bat in the outfield. You've got Carlos Gonzalez, who's the most talented outfielder they have, and who has started out scorching hot, leading baseball in hits through the first 3 days of the season. And then you've got Dexter Fowler and Seth Smith basically fighting for that third spot. You've also got Ryan Spilborghs around. He's more of a fifth guy right now. It looks like it's going to be Smith and Fowler battling for that the third spot, excuse me. Fowler's had more success in his career against lefties. Smith has been a very good hitter against righties. Don't know if it's going to be a strict platoon or what at this point, but the bottom line is Smith's value is on a little bit of a rise. Fowler's on a little bit of a decrease. And both Smith and Fowler at this point just can't be trusted in mixed leagues, though there are options, obviously, in NL-only leagues. Next player on the list to discuss is Dallas Braden. Went out and had a huge game the other night. He had 10 strikeouts. Everyone got all excited about that. Dallas Braden could be a decent major league pitcher, but he'll never be a strikeout artist. Don't forget that in his career, his strikeout per 9 innings mark is 5.85. And after that first outing this year, it's over 12.8. So he doubled his career strikeout rate in that first outing. Don't look for it to repeat again. It won't happen. He's an average pitcher at best, really, at this point of his career. He is extremely good at one thing, however, and that's limiting opposing base runners from stealing bases. Only 3 stolen bases in the 62 games he has been on the hill in his big league career. So no one runs, so you might want to sit your speed guys when they're facing the A's with Dallas Braden on the hill. Going to go through a list of players now that are injured, a long list of players. Some good news, some bad news. Ian Kinsler's got that sprained ankle. He looks to be about 7 to 10 days away from returning, hopefully mid to late next week. They want to give him a little bit of chance to make sure they can give him, as much time as possible to get going. So hopefully he can play 145 games this year. We'll have to wait and see if that happens. We know with Kinsler he's always injured, but at least he's improving, albeit slowly. A player who's finally improving is Lance Berkman. Berkman had his knee drained for the 5th time a couple days ago, had a cortisone shot. Apparently it's finally working. He's been able to run a little bit. Taking some batting practice, and he came out today and said he's targeting midweek next week for a return to the lineup. So it looks like really good news for Berkman. He's finally on the rehab path going in the right direction. Looks like we have a date, even though it's not a firm date, 7 to 10 days for him. Look for him to be back in the lineup for an Astros team that looked terrible against the Giants in the opening series. Next player on the list is another one who had a cortisone shot, and this is Brandon Webb. Had a cortisone shot in that shoulder last week. He hasn't thrown since. It's not considered a setback. He's still doing strengthening exercises, etc. But at this point, it's been weeks since he's thrown. Obviously, there was a setback that caused him to go in and give him the shot in the first place. He's looking like April's a complete waste at this point. There's no chance for him really to get back on the hill for the Diamondbacks in April. It's looking like he might miss, a good portion of May as well. If I was a betting man, I'd still be targeting, something like the middle of May. Brandon Webb was a risk coming into the year. He continues to be a risk right now. Hopefully you didn't reach on him too early in fantasy drafts, because we just don't know what we're going to get from him this season. And then finally, Brad Lidge, another player with a cortisone shot. He had it in his elbow. He went out and threw after, said he felt really good. He's going to throw again soon. Still hoping to return in about 2 weeks. It's not a definitive, but he looks like he's on the road to returning in April. Don't look for him to assume that closer's role when he gets right back to work. So look for Ryan Matson to probably hold down that role for all of April. But good news with Brad Lidge, he's moving in the right direction. Edgar Renteria, another player moving in the right direction for the San Francisco Giants. He had 5 hits today in a game against the Astros. That gives him an 8 for 11 start to the season. A lot was made of his struggles last year. He was terrible. It was somewhat injury-induced. There could have been other factors as well, but basically he had a bum elbow that really didn't allow him to extend through the hitting zone with the bat. This year, he's healthy. He's obviously stroking the ball at a rate that he'll never be able to extend out beyond a couple days here. We all know that. But there's a really good chance that Edgar Renteria ends up being a very valuable NL-only bat. He's got the ability to hit 280, 290, hit you 10 home runs, steal you 10 bases. Possible middle infield play in deep mixed leagues. Nothing great. He's not going to set the world on fire, but don't forget, you look at Edgar Renteria's career, he's a borderline Hall of Famer if he continues to do what he does for the next couple seasons. I know that sounds crazy, but take a look at the numbers. You'll believe it when you see it. And then finally, we've got the situation in the outfield in Washington. Been some rumors that the Nationals were interested in adding Jermaine Dye. That hasn't come to fruition. Some rumors that they might be interested in adding Corey Hart, who I spoke of earlier. Why? They don't have a settled situation in right field. They're planning on going with Willie Harris and Willie Tavares in right field. Looks like they might have already scrapped that idea, and they might be turning to Mike Morse to be the full-time guy in right field. Now Morse, he's had some decent production in the minor leagues, hasn't done much in the major leagues, has a little bit of power, struggles a bit with his plate discipline, etc. He, I don't think, is a long-term answer at this point. Nationals really need to add another bat. A guy like Dye or Hart would be a terrific add for a team that lost the best option they had as far as on-field production when they let Elijah Dukes go in the preseason. I'm Ray Flowers. It's been Around the Horn. I hope you're enjoying the start to the regular season. Don't forget to visit me at baseballguys.com, and I'll talk to y'all again soon.